All right, everyone. Dave Rigotti here, CEO at Inflection.io. I have the privilege of being here with Elise Bentley. She's the VP of Marketing at Tiny. Elise is an incredible marketing leader. She got to VP level in less than 10 years. She's also the author of 3 published books, including Getting Numbers Right, The Insights You Need to Build a Business with a No-Fuss Marketing Strategy. Love that topic. Elise, welcome to the show.
Thank you so much for having me.
Yeah, of course. The honor is mine, honestly. Hey, let's just start. Just tell us a little bit about Tiny, about the team and the company, and we can start there.
Yeah. So Tiny is the makers of Tiny MCE, one of the world's most popular open source rich text editors. And for many of the marketers listening, they would know it as the original editor of WordPress, or even the default editor within HubSpot, Marketo, and a lot of our most favorite marketing platforms out there. So Tiny's been around as a company for over 30 years, and we've been making rich text editors in that time and really at the forefront of innovation of creating that component, which really helps developers, products innovate and grow and not worry about their editing needs.
I love that. It's like a product that everyone uses.
Yes.
And I imagine you have you target mostly developers then in your marketing.
We're a very developer-led organization, really focusing on developers as our primary targets, product managers as our secondary.
That's awesome. Let's switch to some of the marketing you do. So you've been at Tiny for 3 years. You've been promoted twice in that time. Amazing. I love to see that. I gotta ask, how'd you do it? What did you do to keep leveling up? What was kind of the secret sauce? I think everyone's always thinking about that next step in their career. And what were some of the things that you kept doing to kept making it to that next stage, especially that fast?
Yeah. So I also have to be very frank. I was very, very fortunate to join Tiny at a brilliant time in their journey. They were beginning to pivot from being really focused on open source and really beginning to focus on that commercial arm. So I actually joined the team when there was, I think, 2 of us in the marketing department. So we were a very, very small team. So first couple of months there, I was in digital marketing, owning that space. We were beginning to get really, really fantastic results, lead generation results, building up that pipeline and everything. And a lot of that was being driven from the digital space. So it's sort of, I was fortunate that it made sense to the business that, great, we're going to begin really investing and growing this function. We need someone to lead it. I had, fortunately, at previous organizations, ran marketing teams before. So they decided, let's promote from within. And it kind of ended up taking over as the director of marketing for the entire company. Then over the past couple of years, I've been in that role, and we have experienced really, really great, tremendous commercial growth. And I think that's because we've got a great commercial team in place. We've now got about 8 people in marketing. We've now got designers that support us. We've got a dedicated engineering team focusing on our website. So that kind of explosive growth. It was something that, great, we now needed somebody to kind of take that VP level responsibility of marketing. And again, I'd been really focusing on the business fundamentals, efficient growth, fast growth, those sort of things. I had been very lucky to prove to the executive team that I was the right person to take on VP.
I love that. That's great. It's kind of the like startup growth story, if you will, like going from this like small scrappy team, like do things that don't scale, whatever, we just got to make it happen, to now like, repeatable business process, scalability, and just kind of like fundamentals behind it. So that's great to see that internal growth and that promotion, and that Tiny's an organization that really kind of values its employees and keeps moving them up into bigger and better roles.
For sure.
Yeah. All right. So we're all about product-led growth in the show. And I like to ask just what does PLG mean to you? And I ask because everyone has a little bit of a different flavor about what it even is or mean. And I would love to get your sense of, PLG, what does it mean to you?
It's really interesting. So before coming on this podcast, I was telling my team that I was doing it and how it was product-led growth. And we actually ended up having this conversation internally. What is product-led growth for us? And we kind of settled on the idea that, particularly because we're in this SaaS software space, product-led growth is just marketing done really, really well that focuses on putting the product first. I mean, I know that it's so fundamental, but it was like so many of those things that you think about in marketing, it's like in order to do it successfully, you're sort of putting the product in its highlights. So it's sort of, is product-led growth really something new or special, or is it just marketers doing a really good job of marketing?
Right.
So I don't know whether that properly answers your question, but it was definitely an interesting take that we had internally in the team, that product-led growth is really helping the product to sell itself and showing people why they need that product in their lives.
Yeah, that's right. I love it. That's the reason I ask. You get different answers every time, from hey, it's a free trial, to great answers like that it's so much bigger, and it's about the product and doing just marketing well, and doing it's not about the business model of a free trial or open source. It's really about just great marketing that highlights the product. And we've gotten away from that for a long time. It's been so much about putting sales pipeline first and salespeople first, and it's great to see the product kind of become the hero, because we're serving customers and we're giving them a product that they need. We were chatting before we started the show. I was asking you a couple things that your secret sauce to what makes you sort of click, and some of the things that have been really helpful for Tiny and Tiny's growth. And you talked about experimentation and kind of using data. Tell me more about that. What do you mean there, and kind of what sort of drove that response?
Yeah, so I think that this is where we sort of go into the tactics of your more traditional product-led growth initiatives, such as your free trials, your in-editor experience in our case. So we're in this really unique space where so many people actually consume us off-site via NPM, direct downloads, those sort of things. We cannot do the normal tracking that you would see within most SaaS things. We actually have no insights into how they use the product, exactly who's downloading it, those sort of things. So it's really about how can we flex our creative muscles when we know nothing about who uses it. So a lot of the stuff that we're doing is actually trying to work super closely with our product teams and actually being like, great, what can we build into our base product that we can use as triggers? What can we actually do there which won't upset our customers? Those sort of experiments directly within our product itself, where we may not be able to directly measure exactly, okay, this many people clicked this button, this many people did that, but actually playing in with those triggers. We then also have the benefit of a cloud-hosted version of TinyMCE, where we do get all of our traditional SaaS metrics, and that's where we go into all of those really traditional testing experiments, those sort of things. And sometimes it's as simple as going on our website, changing the color of a button, changing the copy of a button. And it's amazing how making those small little shifts and changes across the entire part of our funnel, including what kind of emails we send, when they send them, lead to small incremental improvements. It may only be 0.5% improvement in conversion, but we just see such phenomenal growth from those sort of aspects there. So it's something that my whole team, we're always looking at, we're always refining, and we're always like, okay, what did we learn from our previous experiments? What worked there? Using that as our new baseline and kind of rolling that out across the business.
Including in the product, you're saying, like, you're meeting with the product team and you're figuring out what can we deploy in the product or change about the product that help feed back into marketing or growth, whatever ever turn.
100%. So sometimes we've done experiments where we've turned off certain features and made them premium only. Sometimes we're doing experiments at the moment where we're like, actually, people can use these particular features for free up to a certain limitation, then they have to pay. All of those things are sort of driven by us in conjunction with our product team, really trying to use those product-led triggers in there to sort of really grow that. And really trying to understand what makes people tick and what are the most valuable parts of our product, and trying to come up with creative ways in our product to actually grow our usage even more.
Oh, wow. That's awesome. That sounds like a very healthy relationship with the product team, which, privately, like a lot of people tell me they don't have a very healthy relationship, and there's a lot of kind of behind the scenes stuff between marketing and product and deploying stuff in the product. What are some of the secrets that you have for building a good relationship with the product leader, your product counterpart?
I am very, very fortunate. Roman, our product leader at Tiny, he actually comes from a very strong product background, but actually working in the advertising marketing space. So we both also make sure that any of our conversations, any of those things, it's like we are all aligned. Neither of us are particularly emotionally tied to what the item is. It's all about what was the outcome that we wanted to achieve. So sometimes I suggest something and he's like, gosh, no. Or he'll suggest something and I'm like, no, thank you. But we're like, okay, we always take it back like, okay, but we wanted to have a 5% improvement here. And we're like, okay, well, what's best practice? Like, what is actually going to get us to 5%? And I know it's incredibly hard to do, and I definitely struggle with it, but we kind of try and take the emotion out of the decisions of, we shouldn't actually care necessarily what it looks like or what it feels like if it helps us hit that goal. And I think that working together and focusing on that goal and outcome is something that has allowed both of us to just work so well together. And even with his team, I talk frequently with the product managers, all of that, and everybody's just so aligned of, okay, product may not love what we're suggesting, but they're like, oh, you want to try it? Okay, we'll give it a go. If it has the conversion rate percentage improvement that you're after or the metric that you're after, we'll keep it in. If it doesn't, we'll take it out. It's very much a very good relationship that way.
I love that. Very open, honest, don't take things personally. And it sounds like most importantly, be very kind of outcomes focused in the conversation and what's the goal that we're driving towards. And if you can't be on the same page about that, you can't be on the same page at all about, the work that you're doing.
No, for sure.
Well, Elise, thanks so much for being on the show. It means a lot that you would come on the Product-Led Marketing show. If you're watching offline, you can find us on the community, ProductLed.Marketing. Elise, last question for you. Just if folks want to follow you, get more of your knowledge and insights and kind of see what you're posting, where can they find you?
I suggest that the best place to find me is via my LinkedIn. Probably easiest is to find me via the Tiny company page.
Great, thank you. We'll be sure to put that URL in the podcast description. So thanks again for being on the show, and all the best luck in kind of what you're doing and Tiny and for the love of growth.
Thank you so much for having me.
Of course.